This episode of XIV Reborn is brought to you by Shutterstock for 25% off your account. Just make sure to use promo code GameBreaker10. Go, go, go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of the XIV Reborn for October 8th, 2013. You're watching GameBreaker TV. I'm Gary again, and coming up on today's show, vote to kick causes a big, huge player divide. Shocking, I know. Devs chime in on some more forum posts, and finally, we're going to dig into some more crafting talk this week. So, joining us again for some XIV chat, you know him as Mr. Happy's. Real name is Michael Poveromo. You call him what you want. I call him a fine young fella.
Thank you, Gary.
Sure.
How was Europe, by the way?
Europe is good. I am back with a sinus infection, so if I seem a little under the weather, I'm fighting it. But France was amazing. Thank you for asking. And joining us, as always, for more Game Breaker sites than you can shake a stick at, it's Mr. Michael Byrne.
Hello, sir. It's lovely to have you back. You sound a little sniffly.
I'm a little
you
sniffly.
Should have stayed home and leveled.
I couldn't.
You're a bit behind.
I am a bit behind.
Bit behind.
Oh, you mean stay home from Europe? I think you meant stay home from the show.
Yes,
I was like, no, I have to come back.
Yeah,
you should have stayed home from Europe and leveled.
Yeah, you know.
I mean,
Caught up.
I don't know. France,
Could just
Final
be leveling
Fantasy,
right now.
you know.
It's just weddings. I mean, they happen all the time. Every day there's a wedding somewhere you could have gone to.
This is true.
Could have been in Final Fantasy.
Could have been. It could have been. Burn
Yeah,
would have
2.1, 2.2, you could just have the wedding in Final Fantasy at some point. So,
all right, we've got a lot to talk about and catch up on. I've been away, so you guys are going to fill me in on a lot. But let's start off with the big news this week. So vote to kick other players. The vote to kick feature, serious business. The forums are chiming in on this one. So we got some information from the devs this week on the forums. This is a topic I think that's near and dear to everyone's heart in the video game industry. A vote to kick option coming soon to a party near you. So there are
as
always,
soon as they announced it, everybody went apeshit.
well, there are always issues with this, right? I mean, there's always issues, and I don't know if anyone has ever sort of gotten this feature component right. I mean, first off, there are always a lot of issues when you group up with a random group in general. Bad gear,
Right.
Bad players, AFKers. So there's a lot of times that you do want to be able to kick somebody.
Yeah, and this is a game that's pretty reliant on party content to a certain degree, using the duty finder for not only dungeons but trials and.
Do you actually think the game? Do
tests
you actually
and
think
things
it's like Final Fantasy XIV is actually in worse shape because of that? Because it's it hinges so much on party content and duty finder content.
I don't know if I'd say worse shape, but it's certainly more noticeable. More players are going to find the flaws in the system than you would in some other games. I mean, World of Warcraft, it's hard to say that that's not high profile too. I mean, it's freaking WoW. And I think just because more of the player base is actually required to use the duty finder at some point in Final Fantasy than in other games, it's just going to be more prevalent as far as everybody knowing about it being an issue with kicking rather than just the end game players knowing it's an issue.
So we don't have like a ton of info on this, but Mr. P, what do you? I mean, do you assume that it's going to work like most other like kick features in other games where it would sort of require a majority vote decision sort of thing?
Yeah, but it's kind of different because how many people do you need to vote yes?
Yeah,
right.
Because
even
the
number.
guy's obviously not. I guess it's just going to be the three other people other than the guy who's getting vote kicked. In which case it's just 2-1 because the guy's not going to be able to vote for himself. Like no, yeah, I want to vote.
Yeah, I'm going to totally kick myself out of this group. I'm a douche.
Dude, guys, I am sorry. I am freaking terrible, and I just didn't realize how bad. I'm out of here.
I'm totally with you guys. I'm just totally going to kick myself.
To be fair, I did that my first time into AK. I realized halfway through I was slightly undergeared.
So you just removed yourself?
No, I told the tank, who was very nice. I gave him a shout out on a previous show, and I said, "Hey, man, if the DPS out of me just isn't there, let me know. I'll bail. You can replace me." And the tank was like, "No, we'll get it. I've been watching your cycle. You know what you're doing. We'll just have to make up an extra point or two here and there." We cleared it, but I am the type of player that I do stupid stuff like that, like boot myself from the party. The weird part.
You also did stupid stuff like log out when we had the errors. Like you might be the nicest MMO player ever in the history of the planet, Mr. Bird.
And nice guy always finishes last.
Exactly, right? That's the funny part, though. And Mr. Happy, you brought it up. With 4 people, obviously the one person's not going to be voting, right? So somebody's going to have to initiate a kick, which means their vote is automatically yes, because they're initiating the kick. Which means it comes down to, in a 4-person party, the other 2.
Yeah.
So if you and I are in a party, we could essentially stalemate every decision mathematically if we wanted to. Now, with 8 and 24, again, how's 24 going to work? Can you only kick one of the 8 people in your specific party? Or can you kick one of the people in all 24 out of all 3 parties? There's a lot to figure out here, and they are in no hurry to implement this because of all of these little snafu things.
All right, before we break this down, because the community seems pretty split on even implementing this and the whole topic in general. But before we break it down, I don't know, let me just say flat out, yes or no. Mr. P, do you want a vote to kick tool?
Yeah. Only because it's pretty much a standard in the MMO community at this point. It just has to be done right. There needs to be something that they can do so it can't be abused. But in the meantime, it still needs to be in the game. I'm tired of seeing parties where, like a Castrum party or a Praetorian party, where you get that one guy who says, all right, I'm going to stay here at the entrance because you guys can do this without me. I'm going to wait for my free 100. There just needs to be something to get rid of those kind of people. I just don't. I think gear-wise, that they're taking care of that with the item level thing. You won't be kicking someone for gear is ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to do that. There just needs to be some sort of modifier to identify people that are just abusing some sort of forcing your party to do something without you kind of mechanic.
Mr. Byrne, yes, no.
I'm going to say no, as we normally see them implemented. I would rather see them come about this the other way, with something we're going to talk about a little later, and implement a kick tool, but in a very, it only serves one purpose kind of way. I have an idea here that will kind of talk through some of the problems that the current proposal fixes, and maybe my idea could work a little better.
Mr. Fancy Game Developer Pants, Michael Bird over here. He's developing.
I didn't tell you guys I actually work for Square Enix.
He's a dev working just on this particular tool right here.
Bought him that shirt.
Reinhardt spends time translating my posts. That's actually me putting them up, and he just translates them for me.
I mean, I think the primary argument for even just having a tool like this is obviously when people go AFK, right? Are you guys finding that, first of all, are you guys both finding that that's like a problem a lot with a lot of players? Are you finding a lot of AFKers?
I'm not, no.
I do my most of my events in like free company parties.
Right, so you're really not having that problem.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I do it just because I don't want to drag people away from the story and see them in big tournament. So rather do it with a knit group of 8.
So I guess this obviously addresses that, a kick tool for AFKers, that's for sure. But we're not seeing this thing anytime soon, right? Like they're definitely holding back. According to we got a dev post here. It says however, there is a possibility of this feature being used wrongfully. Therefore, we are focusing to make sure these type of problems don't occur as much as possible. For that reason, the release timing is not confirmed yet. We are looking into if we are going to implement this in patch 2.1. So doesn't really sound like we're going to see this anytime soon. They got some things to work out, which would be a good thing.
There's not a chance in hell we see that in 2.1.
No, I completely agree.
So why are people? So let's talk about a little bit. Why are people so against this? I mean, obviously you can use it to boot annoying players or AFKers, but
yep. And then, Mr. Happy, you kind of mentioned the big one, right? The gear, which right now, if AFK vote to kick was in the system right now, it could be used to punish those that are maybe 1 or 2 pieces of gear shy, but actually should be doing that instance. Now, as you said, that's gonna be fixed when the content is gated, which we talked about on previous shows. That the duty finder's not going to let you queue for certain things if you don't have at least the minimum threshold. So that's the big argument on if it was in there right now, which will be addressed. The other issue, though, that I see this, and this is probably more towards you, Mr. Gannon, you're a cutscene watcher still.
Hey, don't be booing me for watching cutscenes, all right?
So vote to kick Gary Gannon because he's still watching the cutscenes even though he can watch them in his in-book.
That is BS. That's BS.
Right. Now, obviously, I would never do it. I have told everybody, stop it, be nice to the cutscene people because it's worth watching when it happens. But I could definitely see this damn thing being used to do that, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's with me on that one?
Yeah, I can see
okay.
total. I could MMO players, a bunch of D-bags. You're gonna watch a cutscene? Yeah, we're totally just gonna just boot you, screw you. That's totally gonna happen for sure.
At least I hope it would let you finish the cutscene while you're being booted.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yes, that'd be amazing. It's like, cha-ching, you've been kicked from the party. Enjoy this scene that's gonna end on a cliffhanger.
How about if you get voted out while you're watching a cutscene, that's when they implement my watch the cutscene at half speed slider, and that's when now it doubles in time, and it takes half their gold from all the other players for being D-bags. That'd be the counter to that.
This is actually, I mean, we're joking about it, but this is actually a pretty stupidly big issue in the game still right now, and the end game is. I hate to say it, but the end game's a bit toxic in this respect right now. And I think, obviously, a big part of that is just there's so few things to do as far as what you need to do every day. Like, when you have to farm the tomestones, you have to farm them from the same places. So you're constantly running those same items, and there's only one or two options. So everybody's being crammed into the same content. The story users are coming up. The people that are at 50 are still trying to hit that same content, and it's turning into a little bit of a toxic thing over 30 seconds worth of cutscene a couple of times throughout the instance. But it ranks right up there with the whole telegraphs and animations not exactly syncing up for damage, in my opinion.
What's going on?
Is this such a big deal for you, Mr. H? What?
I'm well out of those things before they get me. I move preemptively. That's
no. I'm talking about the seriousness of this kind of behavior because I think it's very prevalent right now.
Yeah, I wasn't sure when you said that.
No, we all know you're pro and aren't getting hit by frontal cone attacks.
No, I witness it a lot on the side because I don't duty finder too often, so I don't see those people a lot. I actually see more of.
I don't see those people.
Well,
right, what was that, man?
I don't see
those
people.
Those
I get out of red zones. I don't know about you guys.
Those
people that get stuck in the red cones because the animation.
I thought we were talking about the other thing. You keep changing it back and forth.
But that's because you basically were like, I'm elitist.
No,
I play with good players.
Because I've been using the Duty Finder actually to record videos this past week, just because I think it's important when I'm doing some of my lower level guides to use the Duty Finder, because that's how most people are going to experience the content. And I like to consider myself lucky that I haven't seen any rude people, even players who some would consider, boot worthy because they may not know their roles quite yet. Relatively kind to those players, groups stopping and explaining the strategies on all the bosses. So I haven't seen that side of the community so much. I've heard plenty about it though, and there's definitely a lot of people out there like that.
All right, so let's unpack. Let's talk about the gear a little bit. I mean, like you were mentioning, I think the gear issue is actually going to be less of an issue once we see, the gating come and be involved. So that should be less of an issue once they kind of get that in there. Square also mentioned a feature that approaches like the problem from the other side. Let's talk about this a little bit. It's likely that in patch 2.1, we're actually going to see something like an MVP voting tool. What's the breakdown on this one? How is this going to work? Essentially voting the best player? I mean...
So, yeah, it's not set in stone exactly how this is going to work yet, but the idea is to approach this problem from the other side. Instead of voting to get rid of somebody, vote for your favorite somebody. So when you get that group, that AK group, and you have a awesome tank that talks to people that don't know the fights through it, and they're just generally good people, and you have a good group and everything, they teach you the fights, you have the option at the end to vote for an MVP, and everybody gets to vote. Nobody sees who voted for who, but if you are voted for MVP, you would accrue some type of point system.
Geez.
Get enough points, and you could spend them on things like mounts and exclusive prizes like that.
Bribing you not to be a douchebag. All right, Square Enix, basically pay me off not to be a D-bag. Thank you very much. I get it. Maybe
right?
It kind of works. Probably works, but
don't pretend that this wouldn't work for MMO players.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Now, there are concerns about being able to totally job the system, right? Like, queue up with friends and stuff like that. So they are trying to play with only the duty finder would give you the ability to vote, so you couldn't just cram votes in for people in your free company. And there would be certain limitations that they haven't really disclosed yet. So there's still math to work out, but don't say it. I think it's a brilliant idea and it would work and fix the AFK thing if you put my little tweak on the
bribes
AFK
work
thing
all the time.
It would be hell yeah.
It would also be nice. It would also be nice if getting upvoted with the MVP tool could somehow prevent you from being kicked, maybe for not being up to other people's standards. Some using just some sort of way of.
Oh, you feel like so if you've been voted MVP enough that if you go into a random group, it's like all of a sudden you're trying to be outed. It's sort of the algorithm knows and be like, wait a minute, something's not right here. You've been MVP like 10 times in this past week, and now all of a sudden they want to toss you out. Maybe something's a little fishy here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'd be
this
difficult
starts to get really complex.
Math,
like, okay, now we need to know what this dude's gear score is, and we need to know his MVP votes. And oh man, he's being a real douche, but he's got so many damn points we can't kick him. So now we all have to leave instead.
he gets to 100 points, he just starts going to the AKs, like just running around, aggroing everything and killing everyone. Can't kick me.
Do you want to reveal your little tweak yet, Mr. Byrne?
Yeah. So here's the idea. I mean, you've got this MVP idea, which I think is good. It still needs ironed out. We do know that, if you queue with a free company or something like that, you're not going to be able to use it. It's going to be for when you use the duty finder and you're getting random people. Great. So, but you still have to, that doesn't fix the AFK thing, right? If somebody goes AFK in an instance, they're just going to be AFK and not get an MVP vote. So you still have to address that particular situation. So here's what you do. First off, in 2.1, we likely are getting the right-click report option, so thank God, so that we can click on names and right-click on a name and report them for spam or abusive behavior or whatever. So we're likely getting that. We need one thing. It's not a vote to kick. It's a report AFK that requires all other players in the group to acknowledge. But that's still not 100%, right? Because you could get 3 people to gang up on one and just get rid of them.
Yeah, it's really easy to gang up on everybody. And then plus,
here's what you do.
And
if 3 people vote and say AFK, the person that's AFK gets a CAPTCHA box. Enter this code. And it has a couple digits in it. Enter it and prove that you're not AFK, and we won't let the kick go through. Don't enter this in the next 15 seconds. We're going to boot you from the bar.
And then you have to hop on one leg and chew gum and pat your stomach at the same time.
No, think about it, though. You didn't have to do anything. All Mr. Happy or me or you did was initiate a player is AFK. It's the same thing we would have done if we would have clicked on vote to kick. We've still only clicked one thing. Everybody clicked yes, just like they would have. Then we have to wait 10 seconds while the other person gets a chance to do one thing to save them from being booted.
Mr. P's got something.
I know that because I've had friends who have AFK'd in other games, plenty much.
Oh yeah.
I know what an AFKer actually does when they say AFK. They pull up their second monitor and they keep watching to see if anything's happening in the game itself. I don't think AFKers are so... They're not really AFK. They're still at their keyboard. They're just doing other things. I feel that all they're going to do is just watch and wait for the captcha. Put it in, bam, back to what I was doing.
Which is why I mentioned before that it has to work in conjunction with a right-click report for abuse. Because if you have a player that's literally beating the AFK system and not doing a damn thing, you need to be able to report them. So, that's my idea.
It's definitely better than not having it, I think. That's for sure. Like
I
having
think
some
it's a
sort
hell of a lot better than
There's gonna be a loophole around any probably anything you could ever come up with, right? I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I think that would take care of at least the majority of issues you would have. It would work.
It's all right. I like my idea. Nobody else has to.
I'm coming around to your idea.
Chat doesn't.
No. Why doesn't chat let you? Just because
your one-time password.
Is it because it would take too long, or what's the deal? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I don't think it doesn't take any more time than a traditional vote to kick would. We all only had to click on one thing, and we would have to wait for a vote to complete and go through anyway. So,
Mr. Happy, I mean, do you have any other suggestions on how possibly another way they could possibly do this then that might work better?
Not that I can't already think of a way for people to completely get around. Every idea I've had, I've also thought of ways people could get around it. I've thought of checking to see, like, if you're AFK, if you don't move for a certain amount of time, then you're eligible to be kicked. But then people will just press the jump button once every 4 minutes to get around that. All my ideas, I've also thought of ways to completely get around them, so I can't really come up with a solid solution to it.
And also realize that I don't think the AFK thing is really a huge deal. At least I do a lot of Duty Finder stuff, and it's very rare that it's actually a problem. But if you're not going to put any vote to kick thing in, you're only going to tackle it from the other way with the whole MVP thing. There has to be some kind of fail-safe there for an AFK situation, even if it's 1 out of 200 parties that you have it happen.
Why do you think, Byrne, do you think that they're being like overly cautious with a sort of a simple system as far as a kick system like this?
I do. And I think it's just the nature of Yoshi P and his design philosophy. It's not one that I agree with at some points, like when we're in instances and we can't whisper people. That ability was taken away from us because Yoshi P and team thought of what a player might do in an abusive fashion, whispering to one person that wasn't doing things right. And this kind of seems like we're not getting a feature because of, or getting it right away because of how somebody might abuse it. I just hate when that's the modus operandi, is how can somebody abuse this, and let's hold it back from people that for the most part are going to use it the right way because of those scenarios. I don't like that line of thought.
Well, they do have to be cautious, right? I mean, you have to be...
Definitely.
Especially with this MVP thing, and like if they're starting to add like a point system into this, and you're actually going to be able to accumulate like other items in the game, they have to really make sure that, hey, this doesn't become like a farming situation where people are just going in there and just be like, all right, it's Burns night, let's do it.
I want more hand minions. That's all I want from my MVP.
More hands.
I want a hand that's not loser. That's the one up from like a baseball game or something.
All right, we got a lot more questions to go through from the dev team. First, I want to tell you guys about Audible. Got a great deal going on with the Audible. Want to hook you guys up with a free 30-day trial and a free audio book. Pulled this one out. I listened to this one quite a while ago. You guys Lovecraft fans, HP Lovecraft fans? Burn, I feel like, of course you are. I knew Burn would be. You're in Mountains of Madness. This is a great book. Check this out a little bit.
We planned to cover as great an area as one Antarctic season, or longer if absolutely necessary, would permit, operating mostly in the mountain ranges and on the plateau south of Ross Sea, regions explored in varying degree by Shackleton, Amundsen, Scott, and Byrd. With frequent changes of camp made by aeroplane and involving distances great enough to be of geological significance, We expected to unearth a quite unprecedented amount of material, especially in the Precambrian strata, of which so narrow a range of Antarctic specimens had previously been secured. We wished
This
also
is
to
a
obtain as great as
fantastic,
possible a
classic
variety of the
Lovecraft
upper
book. Check it out,
fossiliferous
At the Mountains of Madness.
since the primal
You could receive this
mitigation
as
of
one of your free or your free audio book. All you got to do is go over to audible.com/gamebreaker, sign up, make an account, download the app, put it on your iOS device or your Android device, your iPad, whatever you got. They got apps for multiple devices there, and definitely recommend this one. It's a horror fiction. If you've never checked out Lovecraft stuff, I don't know what you're waiting for, but I could listen to Edward Herman speak for days with that voice. Just, I wish I had a voice that was good. I just do audiobooks all day. Check it out. At the Mountains of Madness, the Blackstone edition by H.P. Lovecraft. Download it as your free audiobook today. Audible.com/gamebreaker. All right, so the dev team this week was back on the forums. I cannot believe it. Hell's freezing over. What's going on? They're answering questions on the forums. Seriously, what's happening? What's going on?
It's like 2 weeks in a row.
Is this for real? Is this real life? Devs answering questions on the forums? Kudos. Keep it up. Quick question before we hit the stuff that they discussed this week. Last week while I was out, you guys talked about a free company that bugged out the last boss.
I knew that was going to be a story you'd be interested in.
They bugged out the binding coil of Bahamut. Do we still not have a full clear of the raid? No? Really?
Not only do we not have a full clear, but this problem has become more widespread, and they actually shut it down until sometime next week.
Ooh.
You can't even enter the binding coil 5 at this point, because a lot of groups have come forward doing this, and a lot of them have been actually killing it.
So this has been over a month since early access. I mean, besides, I guess, this bug in place, I mean, are you guys impressed by this? I mean, is it legitimately this challenging, or is it?
I was impressed until this morning. I was impressed that some MMO content had stood for over a month now without anybody taking it out. I was very impressed. And Mr. Happy and I talked about this both on the show last time and offline, where, is it just a problem where it's so hard above the gear that's available now that it's just unbeatable?
That's the question.
And Mr. Happy and his free company, they kind of said, no, it's just very challenging. Better gear would certainly help.
So it's not a gear gap. Of course, gear will always help, but it's not a gear gap issue.
You said last week you felt like it could be beaten. It was just super challenging. However, with today's events, I don't know if it could have been beaten. I have questions now, and it's maybe not as impressive in my mind.
And what were today's events?
What? Come on, Mr. Byrne. You're the one
At
who
4
making the
a.m.
weird faces.
Pacific time, Turn 5 got taken offline. And initially, it was just an announcement in-game that said, if you're in Turn 5, we're booting you. And we are shutting it down. We need to go and look at something. A Japanese post on the Lodestone went out shortly after. The English post came out much, much later. We already posted the story on XIV Nation this morning, and then a few hours later, the English post came out. So the bug that was 1 in a million type shot by this guild on Reddit, or this free company on Reddit last show, became a lot more prevalent.
Apparently not 1 in a million. Apparently not.
It's not the only bug anymore.
Apparently not so 1 in a million, and apparently not the only bug either. Square acknowledged multiple reports by multiple players, and they shut it down quickly, and they are not anticipating it coming up until, at the earliest, the beginning of next week.
Wow. So you guys, are they confirming that basically this hasn't gone down because of basically these bugs, and that is the entire reason?
They have not confirmed that.
They have not.
But it's certainly what's crossing my mind. Now, Mr. Happy, you've been in there. What do you think?
I think all I'm going to say is there is definitely a reason nobody's beaten it yet. You're going to have to watch what Square Enix says for the rest of the week to see if they give any more details about it.
The hell does that mean?
Because I don't know for sure yet. Well, maybe Yoshi P's going to come out and say, no, you're just not doing something right. And we're just going to be like, what the heck are you talking about?
What do you think? What's out of your experience? Do you feel like something, or you don't want to go out on a limb because you don't want it to come back and bite you in the ass and say, yeah, I think it's a bug, and then they come back and they're just like, no, you suck. You just can't beat it.
Allegedly, I think there is something wrong with the fight. Now, there's a lot of posts on the forums about what some people think is wrong about it. You shouldn't have to go far to find it. There's a binding Coil, a Bahamut discussion board that blows up with 4 or 5 pages a day of people talking about the potential bug of the fight. So if you want to see that, just go over there. I don't want to give any specific details because that might take a while to get into the whole thing.
So it sounds as if you don't anticipate a nerf then at all. You anticipate that they're going to fix some stuff, come back. It's still going to be okay. All right. Well, we're going to have to wait and see what's going on. So that's pretty interesting. All right, let's go back to these dev posts. There's a few small items that are being talked about when it comes to wait. Are we really going to talk about this? Is this right? Are we actually going
to? You read ahead, right?
No, I didn't. I'm reading some of the. Are we going to really talk about mojito asses?
Yeah, buddy. Get out those cat ladies. Let's talk about some cat lady booty.
Why are we talking about?
Well, come on, just keep going, Gary. Just
booty.
do it. Let's do it.
All right. So apparently, there's players that have noticed that the hindquarters of the Miquote aren't exactly as big as they used to be.
Yep.
And the devs actually address this. The devs actually like
Wait, this is serious business. I don't understand why you're shocked that the devs talk about this. Is serious Final Fantasy business, Gary.
Turn
Serious
5 got
business.
taken offline, and we're talking about Miquote ass. Come on,
That doesn't matter. Nobody's beaten that. Nobody's beaten that. Everybody's seen Miquote ass. So let's stick with what everybody knows, Gary.
Costa del Sol for.
So yes, the butts are smaller, and some people are not happy. Version 1.0 butts were much bigger. Version 2.0, they got cat flat ass going on.
It's like a wall. Like a drywall.
This is like 95% of the population. Everybody rolled cat. So this is a big deal. I don't understand why you're shocked, Mr. Gannon. You've got this look like you can't understand this. This is serious business.
It is serious business. I guess I don't sit there and just like stare at the ass of my pixels on my screen going like, oh my God, are these right? No. All right. So they actually responded to this.
Yes.
This isn't even limited to just the to this race, right? I mean, aren't they not chattering about like all the other ones as well? Now
yeah, I mean everybody's model changed a little bit. It's just pronounced most on the Miquote.
So they changed the butt size. They changed it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not a perceived thing. There was substantial butt loss going from 1.0 to 2.0. Our butt factor went down by about 50% from one version to the next. Now I'm not going to blame the failure of 1.0 on the butt, but it's a coincidence. Maybe it's a coincidence, right? Less butt, better game. I'm just saying.
We need an algorithm
out of the realm
for
of
this.
Possibility.
Less butt, better game.
We need some theory crafters on this one.
Not sure. I'm not sure that works, Mr. Byrne. I'm not sure how that works.
I've been working up a review for Final Fantasy, and one of the factors I do have there is that butt factor.
Oh, that got a whole section on the butt.
I gotta score it.
Gotta score the butt.
Seriously though, yes, it did change, and there's good reasons for it.
What?
They had to change it.
Why?
They had to.
Couldn't fit through the door? Or Chocobo was getting suffocated? What?
In 1.0, there were some gender restrictions on the Rogadin and the Miquote. So, you could only be a female Miquote and a male Rogadin. So they had to make slight model changes because they wanted to open up those opposing genders. And then the big reason was the gear. Apparently there was something with the size and shape of the models from 1.0 that was rather limiting when it came to designing endgame and forward gear for updates. So by shrinking that booty, they gave themselves more options as far as creative armor going forward.
All right, I'm moving on from this astacular story.
It is astacular, though.
Let's talk about a little more serious of a question that actually affects the game.
Wait, how is that not serious? How? I don't understand this, Gary.
Let it go. Let it
go. Let it go, Burn. Let it go, Burn. Obviously not an ass man. All right, let's talk about the buff icons. Players were asking questions about the buff icons on the character, the debuff icons on monsters. Kind of a mixed bag here, I guess. Let's take the character buffs first. Right now, you only see 5 per character, right?
Yeah, on the party menu, at least, on the focus bar.
So is this, Mr. P, what's the deal here? Is this going to be changing?
It kind of gave us the... just a subtle no, but we're looking at it kind of deal. Just because they spoke a lot about server load and that you have 30 buffs on the enemy and then you have 5 buffs on each of the character models and that they were doing it to reduce server load, but I don't buy into all that. That an icon, a few extra icons is really going to make or break. If anything, they at least need to fix the algorithm for showing them because I know plenty of healers that can't see a debuff on the tank because there's 5 other buffs on him and it's just not appearing. So the very least the algorithms need to change. I think they can just add more icons. To be honest.
More and more icons. Is that the answer, Burn?
I did not like the answer to this one at all because not only, like Mr. Happy said, not only was it kind of like well, we're looking at it. No. But they also alluded to this will probably be something that will, since it's all part of the API and the UI, this is probably something that users will fix with add-ons. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Why? I mean, I guess the one thing is like how long do you have to wait for that? But
right. I mean, well, we're not going to see add-ons for at least another 6.5-ish months.
So that's kind of an issue.
Until the full toolkit is launched.
Yeah.
So that's kind of annoying.
That's
and
annoying.
I don't like that something that is a pretty big deal if you're doing a lot of endgame content is being relied on to be fixed by add-ons. That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Why does it rub you the wrong way? I mean, that's what add-ons are for.
It just seems like Square's like, yeah, we could fix it. We could do something about it, but we're going to let the community do something with the add-ons. Well, if you're recognizing that it's something you could do, then do it. Get it done with. I just didn't like how it just seemed kind of lazy. And maybe it's just me. It just irked me.
I mean, you got to look at a priority list, right, and see what the hell else is on their board. So I could kind of say, I think the big bummer here is the fact of how long we have to wait for the add-on tool. If it was available now, then I think it would be a different story because somebody would probably come up with a decent solution. Yeah, somebody have a good solution. So waiting,
so many add-ons right now. You have no idea.
That's kind of the bummer in this, but I don't know if it's a late. I mean, the wall of priorities right now is probably still pretty vast for them. So something like this, I don't know. On the flip side,
and I would have been fine if it was just a preference thing, though, Gary. If it was just like I like my UI this way, you like your UI this way. You know what? Square's not going to get involved in that. Let the add-ons do it for you. This is actually a game mechanic issue where healers can't see buffs and debuffs in the correct order because they're not all displayed on a character.
No, that's a good point. And
the algorithm they have to make the for instance, the example they gave is that if you are a victim of a crowd control of some type, that takes precedence and flies to the front of your buff debuff bar so that your party members and yourself can see it. And that's great, but the algorithm isn't exactly all that spot on, and there's things that healers or people that are casting different buffs on party members need to see as soon as they take effect, and they're not quite prioritized correctly.
Fair enough.
So it is a game mechanic issue, not just a cosmetic.
You flipped me. Square, you're lazy. Fix it. Burn says that he flipped me. Charim's talking about a Miquote ass add-on, which I think would be a fantastic idea if you could.
2 cheeks, 1 stone.
There you go.
You laughed way too hard at that.
Oh my god, and sometimes I crack my shit up.
Let's talk about the flip side of this. So debuffs on monsters almost always is the opposite. There's too many of them, and you can't even really tell which ones are yours and which ones are other players. So, I mean, P, you did a whole video just on the topic of dots and hots. I mean, this plays into like a player's ability to just even manage their dots, right? So what is this? Is this going to be, is this another like wait for the add-on?
You know what? This is not something that can be fixed with add-ons. And I think the sooner that they realize it, the better. The problem is not so much, I mean, managing dots is horrible. That definitely needs fixing. First of all, I can't even tell that's light green. I'm colorblind, so it's worse for me. I can't tell the light green is my dot versus the white for someone else's dot. That's one thing in its own. The other thing is, you know how before I said a monster has 30, shows up to 30 buffs or debuffs on them, right? If you at any point go over that number, the effect will apply, but server side, the game doesn't recognize that the boss has that debuff. So there are times when a summoner goes to put a dot on a target that's already got 30 debuffs, and this happens mostly in Fates like Savara, and Odin. And the game doesn't know you have a dot on it. And you have abilities that require the game to recognize that you're dealing damage with your dots. So a summoner becomes effectively useless in situations like that. So if they don't fix this problem before 2.1, when the Crystal Tower comes around and you're forcing 24 players onto a single target, I don't know how it's going to work, but that needs to get fixed. That's not something that can wait for add-ons. That needs direct attention.
And they are adjusting this one on the backside. I mean, they already talked about, at least as far as visibility first, moving your buffs your debuffs on a monster to the front of the list so that you can at least recognize where yours are immediately without having to spot check them through a list of 20 to 30 debuffs. So this is one that I think Square Enix is jumping on for obvious reasons, and that's going to be the first adjustment. The second one is, I would imagine, would be, to Mr. Happy's point, the expansion beyond 30 debuffs.
All right, well, we'll keep up on that story for sure, and hopefully see some more info on when they're going to fix all the hots and dots. Moving on, I wanted to talk about some of our fellow XIV Nation peeps. Wanted to get caught up about where we all were in the game and what we've been doing. It's been kind of a couple weeks since we last kind of went through where everyone was at in game. And
I got some angry emails that we hadn't done that on the last 2 or 3 shows.
I know, you got to keep people informed. They want to know where everybody's at.
They were like, enough with the damn news. Don't talk about that stuff.
Well,
talk about what you're doing.
Well, Mr. Byrne, we did keep them up to date about what Mike Chaffin is doing in the game. That we definitely delivered.
We definitely made it clear where he was in game last show.
Clearly. So yeah, you guys want to know where we are, and we kind of figure we catch everybody up. I'll go first. I've been in France, so
You are so far behind.
so far behind. Yeah, I haven't played in a couple weeks. I've been gone for a couple weeks, so I've not played for a few weeks. So I don't really have anything to report on. I'm still leveling, and I'm in my mid-20s, and that's where I'm at.
So far.
Just put your character on the screen behind you and start playing right now. Okay, just get a head start on it.
Non-stop.
Right. Chat wants to know, is France a new dungeon? They don't have that in their duty finder.
Good one.
like Coil.
So I don't know. Let's go to Mr. Happy. Where are you? You've been working on turn 5. That's now been removed. And what are you doing? Like, you and your free company are working on that pretty much until this morning. But that's literally the last.
Got me there.
That's literally the last like PvE content currently in the game. There's nothing else that's like. So what are you and your guild doing besides that?
We're just working on our other relics, our other jobs. We still farm AK and CM and Praetorium. A lot of people are finally going ahead and leveling some of the crafting jobs that they haven't gone through, or their gatherers, melding out their gear, trying to work the economy in certain ways just to make some more money. A lot of things, and a big thing that started happening the achievement hunting has really started beginning, and that's really a lot of the drive behind getting relic quests, going back and doing old dungeons and things. That's definitely on our off time become a big deal.
I mean, do you feel like you're like starving for content where you're like looking for all these little things to do that you're not super happy about, or are you just like doing kind of like, are you actually having a really good time with it?
I'm having a good time leveling my crafts. I go through, it feels so good to just pick up a leave, hand in a bunch of HQ items, be like, all right, I'm 50, time to gear it out. And then start crafting stuff, start finally breaking down. Stop asking people, hey, is anybody on? I need, please? Anybody? No? Okay. It feels good to actually be getting some things done on my character outside of staring at a big dragon all day.
I mean, I think it like just brings it down because I think why people really want to know where everybody's at, especially you guys, top ends kind of stuff, like finishing up the content. Everybody still is wondering in lower levels, like what the staying power is for Final Fantasy XIV, and if what the end game is going to be like. Are there alternate things to do? How to keep busy between raids, things like that. I mean, do you think the average player is gonna be kept sort of just still excited and playing the game on a regular basis at that point without new content being implemented?
I think the average player is more likely to enjoy it than the hardcore player, because I mean that happens a lot where the hardcore player goes through everything so quick. You hear it in all the other games, go through everything so quick. They're literally done with almost everything, and then they're just like, well, what am I to do? Average player, there's plenty to do. There's plenty of jobs to go. There's plenty of jobs to go level. You have all the crafting, you have all the gathering. You have minions to collect. You have the raids to work on if you're, not doing that already. And then, but I do like to say to people when you're playing an MMO to not forget about the rest of the gaming world out there, because plenty of games have still come out in the past month. Pace yourself. Don't feel like it's the only thing you have to play. I mean, there are other games that you can play in between those raids to keep your staying power while still progressing in the game.
Let's talk about what Mr. Burns shaking his head.
So there's only one game.
Hey, listen! I finally got to play Kingdom Hearts 1.5, which has been sitting on my table for 2 weeks unopened. So I finally decided, hey, you know what? Let me stop leveling all my crafts and play something else. I felt good to mix things up a little bit more than just go off mining botany.
Yeah. Besides France, I have to be honest.
You, sir, are casual.
I have to. Yeah, besides France, I have to be honest. I may have been playing a little Grand Theft Auto here and there. Maybe. Sorry.
You and Shaftnet, man. You and Shaftnet.
At least Gary's actually played 14.
This is true.
Let's talk about progression a little bit, Pete. I want to get your opinion on something. So this impacts gear and certainly impacts like the relic weapon quest. There was a forum post where a player suggested Tomestone caps should be by class instead of by character. So in other words, instead of only being able to carry 2,000 of each type, you can only gather like 300 mythology tomestones per week per character. I don't know. You could carry those limits per class. I mean, no thoughts? No.
The system's designed like that for a reason. It promotes a few things. One, promotes gear throttling. If you can do that, you can gear out every single job at the exact same rate. Also, and I'm sure Mr. Byrne is already thinking it, do you really want to do M4 keep that many times per week to literally get, what is it? It takes 9 runs or 8 runs of 2 Titans to get 300 mythology points.
Right, and I'm still saving up gil for my first Titan buy. So, I got a bunch of people there that are like 500K. That's not bad, right? What are the rates right now on your server for a Titan run?
You sure you want to know?
Anywhere. I'm not gonna buy Titan. I'm just kidding.
No, come on. You need to know this because server transfers are coming up. You're gonna come, buy a Titan run. Right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, 700K is a really nice. It's a really, really normal average across legacy and non-legacy. I'll tell you how much it used to cost was a lot more, at least on the legacy servers. But with all that gil being taken out of the community, it's not been so high since then.
What do you think?
Is that a no on the whole class thing?
That's a big no.
That's a big no on the class thing.
Besides the fact that you have to run AK and Titan a million times to get the cap out, I'm guessing by job and not class, really, unless that person wants you to only do it 8 times instead of 9. That's still that's just trying to force you to do stuff even more. And at the same time, it lowers the staying power of the game, and it promotes the hardcore mentality a little bit more. If you're able to gear absolutely everything out at the exact same rate on the same character, then you're going to hit that ceiling of things you can do or things you can't do anymore a lot quicker than if you have the 300. And it also promotes you to go out and do other things in the game. You'd probably have to spend all your time in AK and Titan if you wanted to do that during the week. So I don't think it would be particularly fun if they did that.
It would just make
then,
life.
You're not getting 300, like free companies, like only accepting people capping mythology on all 9 jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. In your mind, at first, you're like, wow, it'd be really nice if I wasn't capped at 300 of these for my character, but each of my classes or jobs could get 300. And if you just stop there in the line of thinking, yeah, it'd be really nice. But you take that line of thought just one step further and what you would have to do to actually earn them, and it's not a game anymore, it's a chore. And yeah, so I'm with you on there. Can I ask, though, what you guys think of the whole buying Titan runs real quick? I know that's like not a huge, big topic for the show, but the forums are getting kind of angry in both directions on buying a hard mode Titan run to get your relic right now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes. I mean, it's not the only MMO that does things like that. It sells, loot that people don't need anymore. Like you bring one guy along and says, if this piece of loot drops, you can get it for this much. But where most of it comes around is what makes you any different than the guild sellers or something like that. I've heard people say that, like, what makes you different than the guild sellers? I'm opening up a market on the server that there is clearly demand for. It's only involving in-game currency. The only thing I can see that really makes sense is that the players aren't learning to play by buying out a Titan run. But, I've been part of merking. I've merked a few Titans, clearly. I need money like anybody else, and I'm terrible at making large portions of money. And there's one thing I've learned about it, is that a lot of the people buying these Titan mercs are good enough to beat Titan without merking. I've seen it a lot. I did a duty find. Like, sometimes we just go into the duty finder with 7 people and just get someone the relic for free, and it's usually pretty fun that way. Almost every time we've done that, the person's completely survived every single mechanic without us saying a word to him.
Huh.
So I think it's just people who are not finding 7 other people who they can play with safely, and people who are just getting impatient. I think that it's not necessary, but that it's not as big a problem as people think if they're worried about people not learning how to play the game.
I'm like, I'm okay with it, and I'm actually sort of for it, but it depends on the game, right? But like, it's sort of sometimes where, me, Bern, I do like sandboxy games a little bit. So I like when players can sort of create content, create a business, do things like kind of add to the, and I think it's, the little things like this. You might say, well, it's not really a business. It doesn't really add anything to the game, but in a way it does. The thing that's weird is with a game like this, it's less sort of built into a Final Fantasy, more built into an EVE Online-esque kind of game where things like this would go on. I'm a huge fan, though, when players kind of take things into their own hands and kind of create new things with them and try to create new experiences for players. So I'm okay with it, to be honest.
Cool.
Where do you
from an MMO player standpoint, and just like the type of player I am, in my mind, I don't like it, because I like the aspect of a relic weapon or insert prize here. It just happens to be a relic weapon in this particular case. I just have the feeling in my mind that you should earn that, and what's the point of doing it if you're just going to pay for it? Then everybody can do it. It's not special anymore. Again, doesn't have to be
because
relic weapon,
I'm gonna go into RP mode a second and be like, well, hey, you can hire mercenaries. Like, if you've got money, like, you can be like, hey, I need to hire.
Right, and that's why
I can't get through this.
I don't have like a moral objection to it or anything like some of the forums are going to. I don't have an objection to trying to run a business and earn money some way in the game. There's no logical reason that I have to be like, you should not do that. It's just the MMO player in me that says, oh, that's kind of cheating. Why would you do that to yourself?
I want to show my EP that I did it and you can't.
I think it'll be a problem if people start giving out PayPal information.
Oh yeah.
Then we've got a problem because I've seen people ask if they can pay in real money, and I'm just like,
Oh, I'm sure it's happening. I'm sure it's happening.
I haven't tried to search for their name since then, since the whole banning thing went out. But I wonder if I'd find them.
I'm sure it's happening. All right, let's get back to this. Burn, where the hell are you at in the game? What are you up to right now? What are you doing?
So, yeah, I got Black Mage to 50 a while ago. Most people knew that. That was on a couple shows ago. Now I don't have... I've been leveling the alternate classes for Disciples of War and Disciples of Magic. The lowest levels I have right now are 15, and that's only on 2 classes. Everybody else is at 30 or higher because I want to unlock all the jobs. So I am... After the show today, I'll unlock the 5th job crystal, and then probably within, 2 days, I'll have the other 4 job crystals, which means I'll have all War and Magic classes at 30 or higher.
How are you leveling everything? What are you doing? Like leaves?
I am a fate grinding beast.
All fates? What's up, man? Hook a brother up with a guide or something. Like really? Can we get a guide? Or you just like
devices?
I like.
Devices.
Are you being greedy or what?
No, to me, I like fate grinding, so I do a lot of that. There are some other side things you could do if you have a free company or a couple of people to help you out that can get experience very quickly. But a lot of people do fate grinding, and I like just throwing Netflix on the one monitor and fate grinding. And yes, this week I will hook a brother up. There will be an episode of A Guide Reborn that will go up this week to show you how to go from 0 to 30 in 2 gaming sessions on a class, where you should be doing your fate grinding, and not only that, what fates in those areas take precedence.
Mr. Byrne, when you do 40 to 50, just say 2 words. Dark devices.
There's no need for that one. 40 to 50, go do dark devices, and you're done. Just over and over. But 0 through 30, I'll get you there in two gaming sessions per class. A couple hours each session. No big deal.
Damn, 2 gaming sessions per class. When's this guide coming out?
That's going to be this week, sometime between now and Sunday morning.
Wow.
I still have a little bit of footage to grab, and some graphics to make to target the fates, but you'll have it this week.
I am looking forward to it, and apparently you're getting like an award, and people want you to sign their cleavage in the chat room and all kinds of stuff. So
I want him to sign mine.
Yeah, good for you. All right, I want to talk about some more stuff about crafting. First, I want to tell you guys about a great deal we got going on with Shutterstock. If you guys have not checked out Shutterstock, go over to shutterstock.com, make an account, and I want to save you guys 25% off. All you got to use the promo code GameBreaker10, and you will save 25% off your account. Check this out. I want to show you guys. So, you guys hear me talking about the Gamebreaker Nation, which is the cross gaming guild that we're getting ready to launch. Actually, this is kind of fun. I can tell you guys. So that we just got up. First of all, if you guys are interested in the Gamebreaker Nation, GameBreakerNation.com is actually now live, sort of. It's up. It's coming soon. And it's got an email address box there. So if you guys want to keep in the loop of the Gamebreaker Nation and know when we're going live and get some email updates on our progress, things like that, which we are going to be launching quite soon, go over to GameBreakerNation.com and sign up. But I started looking at designing. We're designing the site on the back end and trying to come up with some looks and stuff like that. And even for this splash screen right here with this cool, heraldry, can't say that word, artwork, this lion and all this cool stuff. And Mr. Byrne, I'll give you 2 guesses where this fine artwork came from.
Well, I'm going to say, what is Shutterstock?
Oh, ding, 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 ding. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Yes. Grabbed all these images over on Shutterstock. Of course. Started looking for, again, like I always talk about, like making a guild website, things like that. It's basically what we're building, right? So kind of wanted to figure out what it was going to look like. Not sure. Went over, started searching for some stuff, and all of a sudden started finding all this kind of cool, just like, look at how great these are, just for like shadowy sort of things and silhouettes and banners and Then we found this. There's one of them right there. There's the lion. Here's the other lion. Got this one in there as well. Again, and as soon as I put this up, I got like mad props. People started tweeting me, love the artwork, looks awesome. Love the feel and the style of how, the Game Breaker Edition, even though it's, just sort of simple right now, but to kind of give you a feel, that's how quick, you can get stuff looking really good, like for your website. You just go over to Shutterstock, you find some good stuff, you download it, you put it up, and people are like super impressed because like, wow, it looks professional. Well, it is professional. It's like professional artists made this stuff, and I could never make that. And that's an awesome icon right there, the lion with the crown. It's amazing. So check it out. Go over to shutterstock.com. I want to hook you guys up with 25% off. You can make a free account. You don't even have to sign up with a credit card or anything just yet. You can start looking around and saving images. When you're ready to subscribe or buy a package, all you got to do is make sure that you use the promo code GameBreaker10 in the checkout there, and we're going to save you guys 25% off your account. Awesome service. Love Shutterstock. I seriously, I love showing you guys like how we use it on a daily basis because we use it constantly. You're going to see it all over the Game Breaker Nation as well, even more. We're using it. I think I'm going to reuse some of these icons because it looks kind of cool. Do you guys like this design? What do you guys think of this? Like just sort of
like
feel. You like the feel, the black with like the gray?
Yes.
I feel like something epic is going to happen.
It's epic, right? That's right. It's really epic. I was afraid it's very fantasy. It's not too sci-fi-ish, which I'm a little like rethinking, but I don't know. I just still feel like it's cool. I don't know. Probably going to keep it. Check it out. Shutterstock.com. GameBreaker10. All right. Last week, you guys chatted without me, turncoats.
There were some topics that when we covered them, I was like, oh, these are right up Gary's alley, and he is not here this week.
Yeah, I want to talk about this one. You guys talked about some people, some players were getting banned that apparently had too much money. You guys got a lot of gills, so
Bye.
Yeah. See ya. Later. Peace out. I don't know. Before we even talk about this, I want to know how is crafting going? Is crafting even worth it right now? Absolutely. I'm being serious because we've all talked about like, everybody likes the crafting in the game. Mr. Happy, you did a video on how to like do high quality items, things like that. But what's the actual economy looking like? I know, of course, obviously server to server, it's going to differ, but what's the economy looking like in general?
Well, Mr. Byrne, if you want to comment on this from a non-legacy server after I do this, feel free. But even on the legacy server, there's some of the markets are disappearing, but more markets are opening up. There's a market to help people level their crafts where people are making the HQ items that are needed for the leaves and selling them on the boards. There's people selling common items that people just use to level up. There's people selling the highest item level 70 items, which are sort of dark light-esque, 8K Castrum level gear. Materia is always going for a lot of both crafting and gathering material. Has tons of markets. One big one that's starting to open up, though, at least on the legacy servers, and it's probably already opened up on the non-legacy servers, is the spirit bonding market, which requires crafters to make item level 55-ish gear. And the economy looks like it's only going to get better for that as time goes on. I don't know, Mr. Byrne, if it looks the same way on your server.
Yeah, and that's kind of where this whole topic of the money came into this, Gary, last week, was because a lot of crafters got caught in this little Square Enix versus real money trading crossfire, and accounts got banned and things like that because there were some legitimate crafters that they're doing very well for themselves and earned that money legit style, but unfortunately the money itself wasn't all that legit and it got yanked from the economy. 100%. I don't even know why this is still a debate in some places. Crafting is absolutely worth it. Now, are all crafts equal? No.
How so they took out a really significant portion of gil out of this system.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm curious. So how much prices were inflated on the marketplace for things? Does anybody know? Do we have an idea about?
That's what was funny. Like, I expected when all this gil, we're talking about billions of gil pulled from servers, I expected a blowback on the marketplace where prices needed a readjustment phase because nobody was paying those rates anymore.
Didn't happen?
It didn't. It didn't on the regular servers for the most part. The higher rates stayed the same, even though there was trillions of gil or billions of gil moved from the system. Legacy the same way?
Yeah, Legacy. In fact, I've been seeing prices drop a little bit, but that's just because more people are reaching the market and undercutting. That's something totally different. I don't think that has anything to do with gil in the economy. Most everything stayed the same, though.
So can you legitimately play the whole craft and sell game if that's all you're into and you don't really want to do anything else?
Yeah.
I think
so. And you can learn to get really good at it, too. That's the thing. You get mining up, and then you mine the materials. You learn how to craft it into something that's high quality. You don't even have to sell a full item. You can just sell crafted materials that are high quality, and you're all set. You just have to have some consistency to it. You need to be doing it consistently.
Totally agree.
Interesting stuff. All right, let's do some viewer questions to get out of here. If you guys have viewer questions, send them to submit@gamebreaker.tv. Is that where they send them? Yes, that's where they send them.
Usually they can just go ahead and put them on Facebook, or go ahead and put them on Twitter, or you could even email them directly to me, because that's where they come from sometimes as well. Community shout out. Can I give one, Gary, real quick? I forgot to at the top.
Shout out. Go ahead.
Community shout out for this week. Last week it was a party that I had a lot of fun with. It was various nice people. This week it's Gavin Weeks over at XIVUI.com. Great UI collection. And Gary, he's actually opening up one for other games. I'm thinking maybe we talk to Gavin, see if we can't tag team this in with Nations, since he's doing separate games too. Might be something to check out.
Shout out.
Check out some cool UIs.
Check it out. All right, first up this week from Alex Pang. Alex wants to know, he says, any idea which class, assuming they're all being played correctly and gear is the same strength, has the strongest DPS? This is running dozens of AKs. It seems Summoner has the highest so far, but the parser still isn't great for tracking dots. More dots. Any idea?
More dots.
Anybody have any idea?
From experience, again, still waiting on. It's really hard to say again because the parser isn't great at tracking dots on any job, not just Summoner. It's a little bit. There's a few bugs on Summoner specifically that makes them do more damage at times. I've seen a Summoner pull 900 DPS. He's not pulling nearly 900 DPS, but consistency. Dragoon still seems to be at the top, followed by Monk and Black Mage. I actually think Bard is sitting at the bottom. And a lot of people think I'm crazy for that, considering I play a Bard. I think Bard is by far sitting at the far bottom of the list. They're just the easiest to play, but they don't do the most damage. Not at all.
What do you think, Mr. Byrne? Do you agree with his assessment?
Chat is definitely, a lot of chat is wrong. Elvin is, my man Elvin is guiding you correctly. It is in no way Black Mage. Just in no way Black Mage. I love my Black Mage, but no. Single target, I'd probably stick with Dragoon for now. If I had to gun to my head, what's the top? I know that there were some edits to. There's actually two parsers that I've seen flying around, and there were some edits to those to actually cover the dots for Summoner. So I'd be interested in seeing some recalculation work now that dots are sometimes taken into account on those. But if gun to my head right now today, Dragoon.
All right, next up, Mr. P. This one is going to hit home. So Christopher Little asks, do you think we will ever get a colorblind mode? I have a few friends, and it makes some fights hard, like Garuda. They can't see the green or red. It just looks the same to them.
Be better. Either that or they need to stop making blue grounds in Stone Vigil with blue indicators for the abilities, because it's. I literally just stood in the center of the room just like, okay, I'm just gonna hope there's nothing under me right now. So I hope there's gonna be a colorblind mode soon. Either that or they just need a way to let players adjust how it visually appears on their monitor so it's color more recognizable. But don't do the whole blue on blue thing anymore. It's not at all, please. No, none of that.
Have they ever commented on this at all? Probably not, right?
I seem to remember a while ago Yoshi P saying something about this, but it would not be in release. I would have to dig through to find where that was, but it seems like a very familiar topic that I have heard him address. We just would not have it on launch day. I would assume, yes, at some point this will be filtered out and helped you a little bit, but just not yet.
All right, next up from Cyberkit Moonlove on Twitter. Says, is it true that SC gives out 2-week bans for the tree exploit at first boss and Am the Poor Keep?
Do they?
I have not heard of the length of bans, so I can't confirm or deny 2-week bans. I have not heard of anybody I know or anybody in the link shells from XIV Nation or anything getting banned for this particular item. But it wouldn't surprise me because Square has had a history of banning for environmental exploits in Final Fantasy XI. So it wouldn't surprise me that if prior to this whole tree thing being fixed, it would be something bannable if you were caught. It wouldn't surprise me, but I can't confirm 2 weeks or if there's even bans. It's a funny exploit, though. I mean, it's to me though, if you use the exploit, which basically makes your healer immune, I'm not going to tell you how, but it makes your healer immune. If you use it because you have to and not because you just like it, then you probably are going to struggle with Demon Wall anyway, and so it really doesn't matter much. Just do it the right way.
It's funny because
Offline,
I had a comment on
offline. You got me. You got me.
I got you. Don't worry.
my Sunken Temple of Karn video. I saw comments saying, "I don't know if you know this, but there's a spot where you can stand and completely avoid the doom." And I'm like, I don't even know that was the case, but I'm not putting that in my guide
Right.
for how to do the dungeon. That's
Perfect. That's perfect for like side note stuff. Little like, and here are the exploits. You're probably the number one guides. If you had your guide walks with exploits at the end, you should do that. I would tell you. All right. Finally, Nathan Watkins says, "Why is Cure 3 so useless? Will you be addressing class, job, ability issues when 2.1 comes out?"
I actually want to do a video about what I think they could improve on some of the jobs right now, and I think it's something I actually started working on a list of things I think they could improve. Just a few quality of life things for like Summoner and Warrior, and even some of the ones that people consider are really good, like Dragoon, just to make their kit more involved. Cure 3 being a perfect example of you're never going to use it because it's too MP intensive. Some things need to still.
I kind of disagree on that one. I think Cure 3 is incredibly useful, just very, very situational. The way it works for Cure 3, Gary, is you have a target circle, very small, and I think that's the main issue I have with it right now, is how small the damn thing is. And you can drop it on Mr. Happy, and anybody within his little area inside that circle will also get this cure. So it's very situational. With that tiny target, you need people lumped up close to whoever you're going to target on. Okay, well, that's with a 4-man group. It's kind of useless in a 4-man group. But think of things like situational things like the Titan hard mode fight, when you have everybody running out from Geo Crush. If you have them running to centralized locations, that's a great place to have Titan slam down into the ground, drop a Cure 3 on a group of people before they rush back into the fight. But those situations, admittedly, are few and far between in the game right now. So I wouldn't say useless, terribly situational.
Not only that, but Medica 2's regen is more than sufficient in most cases, so much so that grouping up for Cure 3 isn't necessary.
Intentionally, yes.
Yeah.
But in situational, accidental groups, it's perfect.
Michael Byrne, follow him on the Twitter at MagicMan, MIGICKMANN with a 1. Don't forget the 1 there on the Twitter. Go follow him. And of course, right here on XIV Reborn. Michael Poveromo, follow him on Twitter at MrHappy1227, and make sure to go over and subscribe to his YouTube channel. You can find a lot of his great content right on xivnation.com as well. You can follow me at Gary again and follow Gamebreaker TV at Gamebreaker TV. Follow XIV Nation at XIV Nation, all that good stuff. And don't forget, if you guys are looking forward to the Gamebreaker Nation, go on over to GamebreakerNation.com right now. Sign up, add your email address, and we will keep you guys informed of our progress. But it's getting very, very, very close. Very close. We do the show live every Tuesday at 4 PDT. Come on over, show up for the live show. It's always more fun when we got the live peeps. And we will see you next week. Thanks so much for watching. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week for some more XIV Reborn.